Doug Harvey, you were also behind the plate for Game 1 of the 1988 World Series when Kirk Gibson hit his memorable home run against Dennis Eckersley.
Yeah.
Can you describe your view of that at bat?
Yeah, when he hit the dang thing, I said, oh my God, get out of here or be in here. Catch it or be out of here. I don't want it off the wall because they let the guy steal second base. And he's going to score the tying run. And that's where it was my thoughts. I said, just either be a home run or catch it, one or the other. Oh, no.
You didn't want extra innings?
No, that's exactly what I didn't want. And we'd have gone extra innings, probably a long time of it. But I will say this, I've had more people ask me about that. And, of course, they say it must have thrilled you and it must have been exciting. And no, you don't understand. I'm an umpire. None of that stuff thrills me. None of that stuff excites me. I'm a professional baseball umpire, and that's what I do for a living. And no, I didn't get excited, and ever.
Was there, though, at least a sense that you had just been present for something special in the history of the game? Was there any kind of thought like that?
Nope. All I said was make sure he touches home plate.
With Hall of Fame umpire Doug Harvey, what other moments from those 5 World Series stick out in your mind?
Well, Lou Brock missing home plate. To this day, I called him out for missing home plate, and the commissioner took an hour after the game before we could fly on to St. Louis, and he came in an hour later and said, send his man. His man pounded on my back and told me, Harvey, they can't prove you wrong. We looked at it for an hour, and I stood up and told him, well, what the blank are you trying to prove me wrong for? Because it hit me and hit me bad. Why is the commissioner's office trying to prove me wrong? And that's the way he said it. We tried to prove you wrong and can't. I don't need that manure. Hell, I told him I knew he was out. That's why I called him out. But you could look at all the pictures in the world, and I'm the only one in this world that knows that he missed home plate. That's how close it was. And they have no pictures of it. They have pictures of, they have some pictures that they claim is the correct picture, and it shows him about a quarter of an inch off the base. It was about that.
And that's an interesting point that there are no clear pictures of it. There just weren't many cameras back then. Do you think you would want to umpire nowadays where every play is so scrutinized from multiple angles?
I don't care. I'm better than any replay machine they've got. And I've proven it. And like I say, you can have no fear. Go at it. It's your job. Go do the job.
Most players can point to a few older players that were a big influence on them. For you, who were your mentors who showed you the ropes when you came up?
Oh, my goodness. Other than my dad, he and I talked umpiring, worked umpiring, and he took me down to Calexico to work my first professional job, and I didn't know it was a professional job. I just thought he wanted somebody to work the bases while he worked plate. But I believed in what he did, how a man could umpire for 4 boys, his 4 sons, and have people ask for him. I mean, that's a great thing to have happen. Al Barlick was a tough taskmaster. He was on my bucket all the time, and it proved out. Well, he's a Hall of Famer, but he made me learn the rules of baseball even better than what I had known them before, and I had known them, but he made me learn more. Shag Crawford proved to me that 10%, an extra 10% isn't enough. 110% is not enough. You've got to give this game your all if you're going to umpire and umpire correctly. Jocko Conlon taught me there's so much fun to be had umpiring, it's unbelievable. But you have to take it in your right attitude. I mean, I had a manager come out at, it was at Fresno. And he came out and he said, I've got you. He says, a man cannot throw to an unoccupied base. And I told him, buddy, I'm so proud of you. And he gave me the dumbest look. And said, what do you mean proud of me? I said, to think that somebody in this league beside me is studying the rules. I'm really proud of you, buddy. Well, that doesn't make any difference. It's a balk. I said, you read the right rule, but you should have kept reading, buddy. He said, what do you mean? I says, it says it's a balk if a man throws onto an unoccupied base, and there's a comma there, comma, except for the express purpose of making a play. Now, where was the man running? He said, third base. I said, where'd he throw it? He said, third base. Dang it, gummit. And this was typical of my second year in C-ball, second year in this league here, that I knew the rules that well, and I was still trying to learn them. So all these people had a great something to do with my life.
Last question for Doug Harvey. You've obviously received all kinds of accolades, including going into the Hall of Fame just a few days ago. When you look back on your career from your own personal perspective, what makes you proud about what you did?
Oh, there's quite a few things. I can remember when I was in C-ball and people said, if you don't know somebody, you can't make it to the major leagues. And I told them then, well, then I'm not going to the major leagues. A man came down and told us he was a pitching coach for the Philadelphia Phillies, and he said, there's two things I want to tell you. You worked a hell of a plate job, a really good plate job. He said, but let me tell you something. You can't chew tobacco in the major leagues, and they don't want you with gray hair. And I had gray hair from the time I was, 12, I started turning gray. And I told the man, I said, if they don't want a gray-haired, tobacco-chewing umpire, they're not getting me. And once again, that's the guts part of it. That's where you got to stand up for what you think is right. Well, the next year, I jumped to AAA, and the year after that, I was at Philadelphia, and we broke at home plate, and I started down the first baseline, and sure enough, here was this son of a gun. He was sitting over in the corner. And I walked over there near him, and I spit on the step, and I said, I'm here, and I'm going to stay here. And that's the way I felt about it.
We've had the privilege of speaking to Hall of Fame umpire Doug Harvey today. Doug, again, thank you so much for the conversation.
My pleasure, kid, really.